Matt's doing a little editing. And check this out. Because Leamy is hard to get to eat, these guys are all bunched up here. Mama's eating in her room. And Leamy gets a little bit of space. Just a little bit of space to try to get her to eat her food. Yeah. These guys and Leamy. See you later, bud.
Bye.
See you in a little bit.
Okay.
And there goes Matt going to his leadership. I said, there goes Matt.
Yeah, what?
I said, there goes Matt. There goes Matt for his leadership meeting. We'll see him in a little bit. So for me tonight, they've asked me to give my testimony, so I've got another chance at public speaking. This will be the 4th time, and it'll be interesting. You know, as I've mentioned before, public speaking has always been the biggest fear in my life, and I would have never even thought twice about doing it. I would just say no flat out. But it's interesting what the Lord's doing, and normally I would be like nervous the whole day, the whole week coming up to it, but I haven't really been nervous, so it'll be interesting to see if when I get up front there, if the nerves start acting up on me. But you know, it's kind of a miracle that I'm even agreeing to do this kind of stuff these days. But you know, God's always stretching us, helping us to learn and be able to do new things. Right, hon? Pastor Chris was just talking about it as I was thinking about my story, my testimony this week. You know, I was thinking about how blessed you guys are, because I didn't grow up going to church, and I didn't know God, and at a young age, you guys can go without a lot of the pain and problems and things that I had to go through in my life by not knowing God. And so when I was really young, I probably went to church maybe 1, 2, maybe at the most 3 times. And that was because I think it was an aunt took my brother, my sister, and myself to church. And I don't remember anything really. I don't remember learning anything about God or Jesus. I don't even know what kind of church it was. But that was it when I was young. And one of the things when I was young, though, my parents put me in a lot of sports. And I really loved sports. It came easy for me. I was good in sports. When I was like 8 or 9, I raced these quarter midget cars. 11, 12, kind of around your guys' age, I raced motocross, dirt bikes. I played baseball, basketball, totally into basketball. Played basketball with some of you guys last Wednesday. That was a lot of fun. Played football in PE. I did track and field, wrestling. Did good in all those things. Got lots of trophies, lots of ribbons, and won a lot of stuff. And so kind of felt good about that. In school, I was getting pretty good grades, so things were pretty good. And then I got to junior high. Things changed a little bit. So since I got good grades when I was in elementary school, they put me in all the advanced classes when I got into junior high. And I found out real quick that the other elementary schools in the area, they were way ahead of the elementary school I went to. So I was not ready for that. And I had a math teacher that it was almost a daily thing. I started to dread to go to school because he put me on the hot seat and asked me a question from the front. He'd call me out and ask me a question. And I would be so nervous because I didn't know the answer, that even if I knew it or could figure it out, my mind would just kind of black out and I would just freak out. And you know, some kids would be laughing, some kids would be trying to give me the answer and stuff. And like I said, I just got to the point where I just dreaded going to school. Didn't want to go to school because I knew I was going to get called out in that math class. So they ended up putting me in the lower classes, which that didn't help my confidence out that much either. And so I just kind of lost confidence in myself, even though I was good in sports and all that kind of thing, and getting these trophies and everything. And so just kind of became shy and was really nervous around people I didn't know, especially. I was always kind of had a lot of energy and athletic, like I said, but just really got nervous around people I didn't know. And while I was in junior high, I did have one friend that was constantly trying to talk to me about God. Now, I wasn't ready to hear it yet, I didn't want to hear it, but he kept talking to me, and the thing is, I didn't accept God then, but he planted, I know he planted a seed about God. I started, seeing this guy that, he really believes what he says he believes. He's trying to talk to me about it. And the thing about it is, Pastor Chris is always telling you guys, share it with your friends and stuff at school. Well, I didn't get to know God until a lot later, but I'll tell you what, that guy, he was the only one that ever talked to me about God. Nobody else did. I'm sure there were other Christians, other people that went to church and all that, but this guy, he cared enough about me and he believed enough in God and knew God that he knew how important it was to talk to me. So anyway, I kind of still went, I was still doing a lot of sports in junior high, but then got into high school, which you guys are getting close. Some of you guys are like right on the edge, ready to go in there. And I'll tell you right now, once you get to high school, there's going to be way more temptations, way more things coming your way that can really mess up your life. I can tell you from experience. So, went into high school, and since I was losing my confidence, you need a lot of confidence in sports, right, Micah? You got to be confident going into sports. So I'd lost my confidence, so I wasn't making the teams or anything like that. But as a lot of you guys know, I really got into skateboarding. That became a really huge thing. It wasn't a team sport, something I could do myself, I could do anywhere, I could do all the time. And really got into that. So as I said, I started hanging around with some of the wrong people and getting led into some wrong things around. Yeah, that's about right around the 11th, 12th grade. I was in there. That's a ramp I built in my backyard, and I still do. You can do that video clip there too. You can kind of still teach an old dog new tricks. I didn't learn how to do that until I was about 41 or 42. But so, I loved that sport. It was something I really got into. But going into not college, high school, 11th and 12th, I started really getting into partying. I was kind of a late bloomer, but really starting to get into girls and partying and hanging out with my friends and all that. And we really, me and my friends, we thought we were really cool dudes, man. We thought, we had, back then, as you see there, we had the long hair, rock style looking stuff. And so that was a big thing. And then in between 11th and 12th grade, a step uncle of mine, I think is what he is, asked me to come out to Missouri because he wanted me to help design and build a skate park out there. Never happened because they couldn't get the permits or anything like that. Skate parks weren't like today. We would have loved it if there was a skate park in every park, but there were few and you had to pay to go to them. So while I was out there though, this old comedian that you guys probably never heard of, Jerry Lewis, he used to do all these Jerry Lewis telethons to raise money for muscular dystrophy. And so while I was out there, he was going to do the skate-a-thon, where if you could skate for 48 hours, they were going to use that to raise money for this disease. So it was going to be a huge thing. It's going to be televised. There's going to be all kinds of people there coming from everywhere. And, at this time, still haven't come to know God or anything. I'm trying to look for things in my life to make me feel good and really enjoy life and everything. And so the skateboarding was huge. So this event happened, and this really big name skateboarder, Stacy Peralta, was going to be out there. And so the second day he was coming out, I met him, we started skating and everything. They brought a half pipe out and all this. And back then they didn't have these aerial tricks as much, but they're kind of like technical tricks, like where you ride and you just have one wheel on the ramp, and you go back down. And so we were doing that, both Stacy Peralta and myself, and it kind of became into a impromptu contest. And so we're going, long story short, I beat him, and then I went from a nobody to a celebrity, just like that. And it was so strange. The kids and the other skaters, they're asking me to sign their boards and sign their shirts and everything, and I'm like, whoa, this is wild, And so then Stacy, he was really cool. He was really promoting the sport of skateboarding and really liked to help people out. And he told me, he says, hey, when you get back to California, because he was from Southern California too. So it was almost like all of a sudden, him and I came from Southern California, these famous skateboarders, even though nobody knew who I was except for in my hometown. But he said, come to the skate park and I'll get you on a team. So it's like, okay, cool, that sounded great. And I got back to California, but I just got more into partying and going after girls. And my car broke down, so I couldn't get out there. I never did it. And there were times where I was like, man, I blew it. I missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity there. I could have been, famous, could have made all kinds of money, could have had all the girls and all this kind of stuff. And then I look at it now, and I look at it, and God protected me in that. Because if He would have gave me the fame, He would have gave me the money, the ability to just party all the time and go after girls, I would have destroyed my life. There were guys, getting ahead of myself here, but just a little while after that, Stacy Peralta, this guy, he formed the Proud Peralta skateboard team, which was the biggest skateboard team probably ever, where Tony Hawk came out of, all these famous skaters and all that. That could have been the team that I could have been on. Probably, because he wanted me to come out and get on a team. But I'll tell you what, those guys got famous, they had money, all this stuff. And they were buying houses and cars in high school. And everybody knew who they were, and they were celebrities. And I look at some of their lives now, and some of those guys, they're not here anymore. Some of those guys, they went to jail. Some of them got totally messed up on drugs. And I know for myself, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. That would have been me. I wouldn't be here talking to you guys today. So, I thank God for that, because something that looked good, looked like it would be fulfilling and everything, would have messed me up big time. And so, a little while after that, the thing I really got into was building a VW bus. Got that picture there. I bought this. I saw a friend that had one and just wanted to make this really cool surfer van. And of course, get more girls that way if you have a cool van, right? So I worked on it for 3 years, 3 years worth of paychecks. And then I drove, this is what it looked like after the work. Next slide there. Fix it up like that. And then I drove it for 3 weeks, out partying, chasing girls, fell asleep at the wheel. Next slide. That right there, and that's what that side looked like. And then the next slide, that's the driver's side of it crashed. I did a whole video on this because it was crazy. I went and took pictures after this happened and everything because it was so amazing. But I knew at that time I should have been dead. But I knew God protected my life in that crash. There's no way. I remember, the van slid down the freeway on its side, and I remember something was holding me up sideways while I was driving that van. And I remember after it came to stop, I swung my feet down and stood up and went, that was weird. I knew at that time, I knew it was God. I knew He saved me, but it's crazy because I still didn't wake up. I still didn't wake me up. I knew God saved me, but I continued on in the lifestyle. And then it wasn't until, and you know, God is just so amazing the way He works, and He knows us so intimately that He knows how to get us. He knows how to get our attention. And a couple years after that, you know, the whole girl thing and partying and everything, I was all about girls. I wanted to go out with a girl, and she happened to go to church. So what did I do? I went to church because I wasn't looking for God. I wasn't going there to go to church, but God got me in there. And then I started hearing His Word. You know, God tells us that His Word doesn't return void. All of a sudden I started hearing that Word, and it's like, whoa, hearing the truth in it, and then experienced the presence of God in there, and all of a sudden got my chin. You know, and I thought, I was like shocked. I was like, whoa, God's really here. Because I used to, you know, at that time, my stepmom and my dad, you know, they started going to church, and they tried to get us to go to church sometimes. And I remember saying that I don't need to go to church to prove I believe in God, man. You know, I thought that's what I thought. People went to church to prove they believed in God and to prove they were a good person. It's like, man, I'm a good person. Yeah, right. The lifestyle I was living was crazy. But God started speaking to me, and man, you know, with the life that I'd lived and everything, He had a lot of work to do on me. And you guys are probably, you're right. Yeah, He still has a lot of work He needs to do in me. But He started working my life, started to help me to know who He was. And so that was when I was 27 years old. I didn't, like I said before, you guys have the opportunity at a young age to not go through so many problems like I did in my life. And so I lived half of my life, 27 years, not knowing God. And then 30 years now, a little bit more, knowing God. And I look back and it's like, man, I would never go back to that lifestyle. At seeing what I know now, you know, when I was living that lifestyle, I was saying, you know, anybody that's not living this party lifestyle, man, they're a fool and they're missing out. And now I look back at it and I go, I kind of shake my head, you know, man, I was a fool by holding on to what I thought I needed to hold on to so that I wouldn't miss out. I was actually missing out because after God started working in my life, He showed me a whole life that I never even knew existed. Had no clue. But He started working in my life. You know, I used to say, you know, if it's not fun, why bother? And that's what it was all about. It's all about me, my pleasure, my fun. And I can tell you, you know, you guys, that stuff of the world, girls, partying, whatever it is that's apart from God, there's an attraction to that because the Bible tells us that sin is pleasurable for a season, but it ends in death. That devil wouldn't be able to get us to do this stuff if it wasn't pleasurable and for a season. And it's a lie because, you know, I was living that lifestyle, going for everything, going for everything. You know, I was going full throttle. You know, if I could have broke the throttle and went more, I was all in. Man, I was all in. Heart, soul, mind, and strength for the world stuff. I was in for it. And you know what? There was always this thing where it's like, something's missing. There's got to be more to life because, you know, I go after this stuff and it's so exciting. And then, you know, afterwards it's kind of like, you know, well, maybe next time, the next thrill, whatever it is, that's going to be it. Yeah, let's go. But it's never going to give you what you really need inside. These things, you know, they promise all this, but they never pay out. You never get what you really need inside. And it's only God. It's only God that will give you peace, the joy, the love, the acceptance, and everything that we truly desire, we need on the inside. And hopefully, my mistakes, I could save you guys some time. I could save you guys some drama. I could save you guys some pain, some disappointment. Because I went there, guys. I went for all of it. Whatever the world had offered, I went for it. All out. And it never satisfies. Only God can do that. Only God can give you what you truly need.
All right, so I did it. I did get nervous. It was, I felt a little bit of butterflies coming up to it, and my throat, my mouth got a little dry during it. I was wondering if I should bring some water up, but stomach feels a little knotted right now. I am hungry though too, but went longer than I was really originally supposed to. And Jennifer, your arms held out filming it.
Yep, I made it. There might be a little bit of shakiness in it, so it's not the normal camera person.
But anyway, it feels good to have done it, and hopefully it will have encouraged some of the kids to not mess around with the wrong stuff and turn to God at an early age, which would be really cool.
Yep.
So we're gonna head into Carl's now because we're all hungry. So we'll see you guys on the next video. God bless.
Good night.
What about Matt?
Where's Matt?
He's gone.
He's so hungry.
He's so hungry and tired.
What?
He's gone.
What are you guys doing? What are you hoodlums doing?